His name is Anela Georgia Lilolo Dweligazi Ngekazi Sisindisiwe. It's live and direct here at Radio K Pulpits 729 AM. What a beautiful song. Yeah, well, beautiful music all around, really.
Deuteronomy 28 verse 13. The Lord will make you the head and not the tail. If you pay attention to the commands of the Lord your God that I give you this day and carefully follow them, you will always be at the top, never at the bottom.
Well, it is in that spirit of being at the top and never at the bottom that we do welcome our guest. We had him last week, we have him today again, and we'll have him again on the show. His name is Pastor Joseph Petla. Today is not live in studio. He is out in Johannesburg in Gauteng. He is here to speak to us about his amazing journey. What an awesome life is had with the Lord. You heard him last week. He was telling us about how he grew up. This man was preaching, almost having his own church when he was in high school. Hemadot. And how he managed to get himself into university. If you were not here last week, this is a man who just went there. No money, no acceptance, no nothing. And, he showed up and God was able to show off. He's here. Pastor Petla, good evening. Welcome to the show, Baba.
Good evening, Pastor G. Thank you for being back here on the show, on the pulpit, Pulpit station. Thank you, Mfundisi, for welcoming me again. It's always a pleasure to be here, and good evening to the listeners as well out there.
Let me tell you something, Pastor Petla. There is something about you that is humbling. That demands for one to be humble. The story that you gave last week, it had me going back and looking at the opportunities that I've had, how other people contributed into my life, even how I end up being on this radio station. Somebody had to make it happen for me. In this case, Pastor Msibi connected me, by the grace of God. And you spoke last week about a gentleman who drove his car. First, he says to you, listen, don't worry about catching taxis. You're going to get there and it's going to be late. You won't be able to get to the police station to get a stamp with mama. Let me take you home and then we will do it. And this just says to me that, in life, just be humble. And you never know what the next person is going to be able to do for you. God has placed people in places for us. Look at me going on and on and on. Pastor Petla, I want you to take us a little bit back with your story. When we left it off, you were at varsity. You had just been accepted to study in the university. What happens then?
Pastor G, thanks again. The story we left it when I just accepted at the university. I studied. I was there for the first year. Remember when I said to you, when I went to the university, I had nothing with me. What allowed that to happen? Because there was something that was in my heart that I really wanted to be at the university, but there was struggles at the university on my first year. I remember, you couldn't even have. I didn't even have money to buy a mere toothpaste, one soap, lotion. I remember in winter that year, my skin had cracked, like on my shoulder, at the back of my shoulders, cracked. My legs were cracked, like literally, because I used to just go in the shower and then just shower without bath soap, without lotion, and wind, and you just try to cover yourself so that you don't people, they must see how's your skin look like. But at the end of that year, then things happened that I couldn't continue with towards my second year at the university. And then that's when I started looking for a job. I realized that, you know what, when I realized that, okay, it's not happening, I'm not going back to the university for my second year. I was staying in a shack in Mamelodi. And as I was staying there in that shack, and then that's when I met a guy by the name of Steve. And Steve was working at the hospital, at Pretoria East Hospital, Netcare Pretoria East Hospital. He asked me, he said, and what are you doing? I said, man, I was at the university. I'm looking for any job this year, if I can do something, because I'm not continuing with my studies. So he said to me, okay, no, that's fine. Give me your CV. I gave it to him. A week after he came back, he said, hey, man, you know what? I gave my boss your CV. He said, hey, come with me. He said, you must come for the interview tomorrow. I was so excited. And I said, Lord, thank you. Because at that time, Pastor G, I was staying when I was there at the shack, there were no food. There was nothing, you know. So I said, Lord, thank you that I was just thanking the Lord that he opened a door. Even before I got the job, that night I was so excited. I said, Lord, even if it's just an interview, but I'm going there. Thank you for the opening that door. So I went the next day, I went for the interview. I thought I was going to be interviewed. And here I am that night. I polish my shoes, making sure that my shoes are shining, and making sure that I've got a nice formal trouser. My white shirt, I had only one nice white shirt, and I was put on my white shirt the next morning and my tie on, and then I was on point. I was going for an interview. Guess what? But Pastor G, and as I arrived, I was standing there. People started waking, and there come two guys, older guys, you know. I remember the other one, his name was Henny Pretorius, you know. When Henny got there, he said to me, as ye Joseph, ek sê yeah. Ek sê, kan jy Afrikaans praat? Ek sê, ja, nee, ek kan. And I said, okay, kom saam met ons. And then I went with, then he said, come with us. And then I went with him. And he showed me a place. In mind, I'm wearing a tie, and he saw my CV that I was at the university. Yes, of course, I've got like computer skills and this and that. But he said, and then I went with him. And when I got he showed me, when I was at a distance, I see this place is like a nice green grass, you know? And it can be, if I'm not exaggerating, it can be a size of a soccer field. I see a nice green grass when you look at it at the distance. And when we get closer, I realized that, okay, this is not really green grass, but it's actually weed that has grown. What they've done, they were creating a parking lot for the staff of the hospital and the doctors and all the people at the hospital. And now use that place. So there was a lot of rain, I think, during that time, and there was a weed that grew from the sand. There was a sand underneath, and then there was a concrete. Now the weed grew between the sand and the concrete. Now here's the challenge. They say, do you see this place? I say, yes. They say, can you clean it? I say, yes, no, definitely. And they say, okay, but there's one challenge here. This, you cannot use a fork or a fortune to clean this place. Because the only way to clean this place, which is a size of a soccer field, it's by going down and pull this weed one by.
My God.
And then I said, what? They say, yes, that's the only way. There's no any other way of doing this, going and pulling them one by one. Pastor G, I'm telling you, I had to take off my tie, put it in my pocket, fold my shirt, and then went and I started pulling those grasses,
Lord.
those weed.
Mm.
And the first day I was so tired that because I couldn't even take it for the first day. It was so hard. Remember, this is in Pretoria.
Yeah.
I'm talking about it was the week of February.
Mm.
And it was very hot. Pretoria in February is very, 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 very hot.
Mm.
So
Mm.
the shirt I was wearing, I couldn't wear it anymore. I had to throw it away.
Wow.
Because it changed color on that day.
Lord.
When I finished, it was red because I was wiping my sweat, everything with it.
Mm.
I couldn't wash it and get it clean. So, but the next day, when I got to my place, staying on that first day, I was so tired. I went to bed. I just got there and then I said, let me just lay down because
Just
my
to stretch
back
your
was
back.
itching.
Yeah.
Just to stretch my back. You know what? As I was saying, I'm stretching my back. The next thing I hear a knock on the door.
Mm.
I didn't even lock. The door was not closed. I hear the knock on the door, and someone said, "Hey, Baba, it's time. Let's go."
It's morning already.
It's the morning already.
Oh my God.
That's how tight. And I'm telling you, I went. But the second day, when I got to the garden again, that's when I made my own declaration.
Yeah.
Pastor G.
Come
That was
on.
the moment. I said, when I got there, right, my two of my fingers, both left hand side and the right hand side, had big blisters.
Ooh.
I couldn't put the grasses anymore
Yeah.
with those two fingers. They had like blisters on, and they were swollen, and then now I take plastic, try to wrap it just to put so that I can start working. But the next thing I did that, and the next thing the blisters were, I just saw blood coming out of my fingers, and then and then I look at them, and then I say, Lord, one day I'll thank for these fingers. I'll remember this day. And then at that moment, it's like the Spirit of God just came over me. I make a declaration at that moment. I say, Lord, from this moment on, I'm going to work hard from this garden. And I'm going to achieve all my goals from this garden. I'm going to work hard. I know it's hard. I know when I knock off, I don't want even to do anything. But I'm going to continue pushing this hard so that I don't give Uomheni a chance to let go of me.
Yes.
When I finish this, I'm going to work in this hospital. I don't know what they are doing. I've never been in the hospital. This is the first time I come to the hospital, but I know that they're dealing with patients. But surely, even though I know that I was doing accounting at the university, but I know that there should be something to do with money, counting, and admission and so forth. When I finish here, I'm going in the hospital. I'm not gonna. And I said, Lord, I'm not gonna be unemployed from this moment on.
Come on.
Going.
Yeah.
I'm gonna remain employed and until I achieve my goals.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, that field that I was working on, it was supposed to take me maybe 3-4 weeks.
Yeah.
Because I pushed myself. They didn't even come and check how I was doing because they thought, this guy is gonna take forever there.
Yeah.
After 7 days, I went to them and say, I'm done. I went there and said, I said, Joseph, I said, what say ye?
Wow.
And then he was sitting with his colleague and said, you were here money. He says, I said, yeah, man. No.
Can't be. Yeah.
And then we went, have a look at the place. And when we look at and I found the place, man, it was, I was done. And that I did to say, I don't want to give them a chance to let me go.
Yeah.
Then, and definitely they didn't let me go.
Mm.
After that, they gave me a post to push rubbish out of the hospital. I was pushing a trolley, taking all the rubbish out of each and every ward, and then take it out. And the next thing, I became a porter at the hospital. The next thing, I working
Wow.
in theater, and as in theater, and eventually when I was working in theater, and I ended up working with surgical instrument. Remember, Pastor G
Oh.
said what to talk about the
Mm.
business. So I ended up ordering surgical instruments for the doctors, specifically for orthopedic instruments and
Mm.
implants, taking in and starting to work with different companies that were coming and delivering sets. And
Mm.
one day while I was doing this job, and I was sitting there, I had an office at the hospital there one day, and something just came to say, and then I said, now I found
Mm.
what I have to do.
Oh, wow.
This is the business
Yeah.
that I'm going to.
Mm.
And when that dream come,
Yeah.
when that vision come,
Mm.
when that goal, you think, now this is it.
Yeah.
It gives you goosebumps.
Mm.
But
Mm.
when you
Mm.
get it, wow, but no, it's too big.
Mm.
It's impossible to do such.
Yeah.
But it came on, and then I said, but yes, but I can do it. And I said, this is the business that I want to do.
Yeah.
I want to become a medical company. I want to
Mm.
start a company. I want to distribute the medical device. I want to distribute orthopedic implants. This is what I'm going to do.
Mm.
Now, at the time, I'm sitting there.
Hmm.
Remember, I'm just working at the hospital.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, what does it take to start such business? I asked myself these questions and I answered myself. I said, it's going to take a lot. But I'm going to give myself 15 years.
Yeah.
I say I'm giving myself 15 years to start this business.
Mm.
From this moment on, and I'm telling you, Pastor G, that day I said, from this moment on, any decision that I'm taking,
Yeah.
it must talk to where I'm going.
Yes. Hmm.
And I can tell you, and from that moment, from that day when I said, I'm giving myself 15 years. And then I said, Lord, I'm giving myself 15 years to know more about the industry, to know more about this business. If 15 years comes without me starting this business, I must forget. I will never be in business.
Yeah.
That was my time. I said, if I reach 15 years and then still busy trying to start business, I said, I will never go into business.
Mm.
But that time, I remember there was a time where I started working with different companies, and there was a company that came actually hand-hearted me at the hospital.
Mm.
And when they came, these guys, they came and then they said, let's go and have a coffee. And I went to have a coffee with them.
Mm.
Later, I learned that while we are drinking coffee, that no, they said they want me to join their business, their company.
Mm.
And then I said, what? Yeah, they said no. And then they asked me, they said, okay, we want you to join our company. We're going to open a branch in Pretoria. So we want you to be one of the key employees for our business. I said, okay.
Mm.
They say, okay. And they ask questions. And then they ask also, how much are you earning
Yeah.
at this hospital? I told them, I said, okay, this is how much I'm earning.
Mm.
And then they said, okay, well, that's fine. I remember very well, it was on a Friday. And the Monday, the guy around 10, 11 in the morning, he was at the parking lot. And then he calls me, say, hey, man, Joseph, I'm here at the hospital. Can you meet me at the parking lot? I went there and he gave me an offer. He said, this is the offer that we give it to you. And Pastor G, I look at the offer and it was like literally, it was double my salary of what I'm
Wow.
earning at the hospital.
Yeah.
Then
Look at God. Mm.
I went to the theater and then I went to my manager and I said, hey, it looks like I'm gonna leave now. He
Mm.
said, why? I said, did we do anything? I said, no, this is the offer that I got. And she looked at it and said, no, Joseph, wait here, I'm coming back now. That was still in the morning. She went to HR. My boss went to HR that day, and she stood there. I was working. I even forgotten that since she went to HR, she never. As I was about to knock off at around 4:30, she came back. She said, Joseph, you have no idea how much I fought. I said, what do you mean? She said, yes, I've been in HR for the whole day. I fought for you. This is the counter offer. Look, they gave me the same offer
As the other guys. Yeah.
I said, yeah. Now there comes the confusion. Now
Lord.
that I'm working very well here at the hospital, I'm doing great. There's nothing actually that's stopping me that I should stay. But you know what? I went back and then I was so confused. I remember, but I went home and then as I stayed at home, and then I said, Lord, I got these two offers here. Now, what's happening? And then I remember that I've got a vision.
Yes.
The only thing that I took was that I need to go out and learn how these companies
the business work. Yeah.
The business work. And I realized that at the hospital, I might have reached my roof. And go out.
Yeah.
I will never learn how does the business work out there. So it was easy to make. After that, it was easy because now the vision that I had, it helped me to have a decision that was clear to me. And I went back the next day. I said, I'm leaving. I'm definitely leaving. They said, but we give you the offer. And then I said, but yes, I understand. And we're working very well. But I think my dream is out there. So I need to go and going out after my dream.
Yeah.
That's how I left. Let me tell you, Pastor T, there were other offers that came after I joined that company I worked for. I started working there at that company with the aim that now I'm now learning to start my own. And as I was working, everything that I was doing, it was my own knowledge. Everything, even I will even do extra things somewhere somehow. Like for example, they say, hey, the person who's doing invoices, she won't be here for the next 2, 3 days, 4 days. I'll say, teach me how to do it.
Yeah.
And we need something at the airport. The driver here, what? I'll say, give it to me. Let me go and do it. So in that way, I was learning everything. I was trying to learn everything during that time, just to capture everything, just to learn, to make sure that I learn everything that are happening in the business environment, especially in the distribution part of it. So eventually there were offers that were coming. And you know what? I declined some because they were not talking to my vision, where I'm going. They came, they were giving me more money.
Yeah.
But even more money, you couldn't even take the money because the offer doesn't talk to your vision.
Yeah.
And I could only take the offer that will talk to my vision, where I'm going, where I can start the business. So I worked different companies. When I finished with this one, I went to another one where I was the National Warehousing and Logistics Manager. I started knowing about the other part of the business, how to deal with the international suppliers, how to clear your goods at the airport, and then all those things. Bring how to bring the product in how to import the product to bring them in the country. I learned those, and there was a time, and actually, you won't believe I'm saying this, but at that company, actually, I got fired.
Look, Pastor Peter, it's now 22 according to my watch. And I think
Yeah.
you already know where I'm going with this. We're going to have to do a part 3.
Oh,
We're going to need to come back because your story is so rich and there is so much. And the reason I'm going on and on with it, I want the person who's listening to look at their own life and look at their own story. And there's a person who is trying to stop where you were supposed to stop, there's a person who is going through a challenge that you went through yourself, and they don't have the motivation to go on. They don't have the power. So when you're speaking the way that you're speaking, I know we are laughing now, but I can imagine
Yeah.
working a soccer field, putting weeds one by one and blisters on your fingers and all of that. Someone is going through that right now. So I'm going to request Pastor Petla that we do part 3. And if the Lord allows, we do part 4 as well. Because now we are leaving it at you. You are still employed. And I want us to start exactly where you get fired when we come next week. Is that a good deal?
Pastor G, no, I'm okay, Pastor G. We can do that with part 3.
Wonderful.
Where I got that. Yeah.
Wonderful. Look, thank you so much for honoring me like this, Pastor Petla. Really, I do appreciate it. You have no idea how much I appreciate it. May God bless you, and may God continue to enlarge you. I know that as we speak, people will get to know where you are now and what you're doing and how big what you're doing is now. And when we look back at your journey, we'll be able to look at what you've gone through. Thank you so much, man of God. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pastor G. God bless you. Thank
Amen.
you.
Amen. Right. That's Pastor Joseph Petla. Listen, this man is it's a colossus. He's amazing. He's just too big. So next week we'll continue. I know it makes for a lovely, lovely story. I'm still convincing him, and I'll continue to convince him that we need to collapse this into a book. It's coming. I'm telling you, it's going to come. I got some music before I sign off. I've got some music. I'm heading to Johannesburg after this to a conference at House of Treasures where I will be speaking to the likes of Apostle Joshua Selman, Apostle Michael Orokpo, and Apostle Felix Oko, and many other colossal, big men of God. I will record all of them and I'll bring you the juice. Don't worry about it. I'll bring you the juice. I'm going to record all of it. I'm going to bring you the juice. So make sure